You've all been following the events, I'm sure, in Artsakh and Armenia, and you'll hear me repeat this a lot, but pray, donate, and advocate, and let's keep on doing it over and over again. This is urgent, and this is crucial. And I have been in touch this week with Armen Zakaryan, Lieutenant Colonel Armen Zakaryan, of the Armenian Armed Forces, who, as you know, is part of our St. Hagop family and happens to have been stationed as the senior representative to CENTCOM from Armenia to the United States CENTCOM. We're blessed to have him because we all want and need to know more information about what's happening there, and I've asked him to speak with us today about that, and also perhaps to make real for us the urgency of the situation and to help us continue to do what we can to help here from St. Hagop and here from America. So I am honored and I'm thankful that Armen is here to speak with us today. And I envision that this, maybe we can do about 15 minutes here, and if it goes longer, there's more questions, perhaps we can then continue our conversation in the hall during fellowship. Armen, thank you.
Մեր հաղորդացյալ հաջորդ բարև ձեզ։ Ես կշարունակեմ իմ խոսքը անգլերենով, քանի որ ինչպես հասկանում եմ, մեծամասնությունը տիրապետում եք անգլերենով. So I will continue my speech, my short speech in English, since I know that many of you speak in English and Armenian may be not understandable for you. I am Lieutenant Colonel Armen Zakaryan. Many of you have met with me, and I am stationed in the United States Central Command, MacDill Air Force Base. I have been stationed here since September 2018, so it has been 2 years here. I am here with my family, my lovely wife Serpui. She's here with me today, and I have 3 kids who are at home now with my 17-year-old daughter. It has been good time here in Tampa. Yeah, my daughter this year graduated Jefferson High School in 17 years old, 1 year earlier, and with honors. She has been the part of the Jefferson High School for 2 years, and she has been the only student who graduated 1 year earlier, the Jefferson High School. My 2 kids, they are in Roland Park High School. They are in one of them. My son, he's in the 2nd grade, and my daughter now is 7th grade. They are doing now online classes. Now I will briefly talk about my task here, my mission here. I have been in the Armenian Armed Forces military. I am the proud member of the Armenian Armed Forces military since 2002. It's almost 20 years. I have stationed in Ministry of Defense before this. I was the Deputy Chief of International Military Cooperation Branch, coordinating our cooperation with the United States, with NATO member countries, about 30 countries. And since I'm here, the United States Central Command has active cooperation with the Ministry of Defense and with the Armenian Armed Forces. Armenia is a peace-loving country, and we are part of the peacekeeping operations in Afghanistan, in Kosovo, in Lebanon, and we were part of the Iraqi mission back in 2006, 2008. So now we have forces stationed in Afghanistan. They are working with our international coalition to preserve peace and security of Afghanistan. We also have forces stationed in Lebanon, peacekeeping forces, who work with our UN coalition under the Italian command to preserve peace and security in Lebanon. We have also in Kosovo, we have been in Kosovo since 2004, stationed now our forces, it's a platoon-sized element, stationed under the United States command. So in coalition we have more than 50 countries working there, and we have also Turkish representation there. but there is no Azerbaijani representation there. And you know, nowadays it's very important to exchange the information and also to keep track all events what's happening in Armenia. And my colleagues from different countries were very worried, were very concerned about what's going on in Armenia. And I have been in constant contact with the United States Central Command, with my colleagues from multiple countries, and I presented what's going on in Armenia, how this aggression happened, who are aggressors, who attacked the Armenian nation. My dear compatriots, as you know, about a week ago, Armenia, in early morning, on Sunday morning, Artsakh, our Artsakh Republic, has been attacked by the Azerbaijani armed forces. It was heavy attacked. All contact line actually was the front line. They were attacking with shelling our cities, with shelling our civilians, civilian infrastructures, with targeting our military units, bombarding our positions. It was very heavy attack, and actually we found out that Azerbaijani forces are backed by Turkish military. They were involved in the command and control of the Azerbaijani armed forces. And also they were mercenaries, fighters, terrorist organization members who were part of the Azerbaijani forces attacking our military and our civilians. We have now evidences, and this is also international community is with us. President Macron, French president, also confirmed that they are Syrian fighters, members of terrorist organizations along with Turkey. And also Russia Security Council actually confirmed this information. And many countries have confirmed that there is a presence of Syrian fighters, terrorist organizations on the territory of Nagorno-Karabakh. So, during this 1 week, it has been a very tragic time for Artsakh and for Armenia. The martial law was declared in Artsakh and in Armenia also. All male personnel have been mobilized to defend our homeland. I am here, but I wish to be there. I wish to be there and sacrifice for my life for my homeland. I'm ready for that. I'm ready to be with my friends, brothers and sisters in arms and to defend my homeland. But my government, my leadership decided to keep me here. And also we have military presence in Washington. We have military attaché who is stationed there. We have also our representation in UN who are heavily working these days, trying to pass all truths about what's going on in Artsakh, in Armenia, who is attacker, because Turkish side, Azerbaijani side, they are declaring that Armenia is attacking us, which is not true. And they tell that Armenia started first shelling on Sunday and they were conducting counter-offensive operation, which is not true. Counter-offensive operation, all military personnel knows that planning and doing counter-offensive operation when you are under attack takes weeks, at least a few days, and you cannot immediately make counter-offensive operations. So Azerbaijani leadership is always lying, trying to convince international community that Armenia, Artsakh, they are aggressors, but which is not true. Artsakh is Armenian land, it has been historic Armenian land and will stay Armenian. Nobody can take Artsakh by force. And as Prime Minister Pashinyan mentioned in his speech yesterday, we cannot become travelers to Derzor. Armenia cannot be victim of genocide again. My dear compatriots, more than 200 soldiers brave soldiers, God bless them. They sacrificed their life for defending our homeland, our Artsakh, our civilians, our brothers and sisters, our parents, our grandmothers, grandfathers who are there, who are now, they are trying to keep them safe from the bombardment when the Azeri forces and Turkish F-16 aircrafts, they bombard the cities of Artsakh. And as you may know, also Turkish F-16 aircraft shot down Armenian Su-25 aircraft a few days ago on September 29. It happened when actually our aircraft was in Vardenis, above the airspace of Vardenis, and they are trying to help our military units who are defending, doing self-defense against the Azerbaijani armed forces attack to Armenian border. Turkey and Azerbaijan deny these facts, but international community, our partners know what is true, who is a liar in this. And today, our Nagorno-Karabakh's armed forces, they conducted military operation against a military target, against Ganja military airport. The Ganja military airport, from where the F-16 aircrafts, they conducted their flights and they bombarded the civilian cities of Nagorno-Karabakh and they conducted aggression against Armenia, is totally destroyed. Ganja airport, there is no Ganja airport anymore. Azerbaijani armed forces will learn from this that they cannot attack, and there will be retaliation, there will be self-defense. We are not attacking anybody. We are just doing self-defense. We are protecting our homeland, protecting our families from attack, from aggressors' attack. And as a member of the American community here in Tampa, my request would be to talk with your friends, with your colleagues, with Americans, with other nationalities. Please explain what's going on in Nagorno-Karabakh. Please explain that Nagorno-Karabakh is historic Armenian land. It has churches dating back to the 4th century where there is no Turkish or even Azerbaijani nation there. So please do whatever you can to help Armenia and Artsakh during these challenging times. As Derhovna mentioned, there are a few ways how can you help you, and the Armenia Fund, Strong Artsakh, it's one of the ways. And also as members of the community, you can advocate for Armenia and for Artsakh. And my sincere thanks to Derhovna, to St. Hagop Church, to all personnel and to all of you for your commitment, for your sacrifice, for helping Armenia in this difficult time and Artsakh. I would like to assure you that Armenian armed forces remain strong. Nobody can take Artsakh and nobody can occupy Artsakh or Armenia. It's not 1915. Armenian nation has a strong army which is ready to defend its homeland from aggressors. And the aggressors will be punished and the consequences will be destructive for them. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I'm ready to answer.
I'm going to, Armen, if you could stay there. Thank you very much for being with us. If you stay there and get ready for questions, if you indulge me 2 minutes to, we're going to get feedback here. If you indulge me 2 minutes to go over what we can do. Advocate. People are very negative these days about the ability of politics to do anything and the political system to do anything. I think we're going to get some major feedback here. Let me try to move. Okay. But if a few of us only talk to our congressmen, nothing's going to happen. But if everyone and 50 people talk, that does work. And so I've contacted Congressman Christ's office 3 times. They got back to me and wanted to clarify what I was looking for. And ANC helps you do all of this. It gives you the words to say, it tells you what we're looking for, there's new resolutions out that we can help pass. So Congressman Christ, if your congressman is Gus Bilirakis, that's even better if you live north of here in his district, because he is a proven friend of Armenians and on the Armenian caucus. You can call your senators as well. And I'll be passing out more information about that. But it's not just the political people. Armen is not on the front line, but Armen he's a good soldier and he has a duty to do here. He's talking to all of the CENTCOM representatives of other countries and trying to get them to understand the situation. You all have a circle of friends, whether it's teachers, online, Facebook, telling them the story in a calm, in a factual, in a loving way, telling the truth in love of what is happening is extremely important. Donating. The Himnadram, there was some confusion that the Himnadram and the Armenian Fund are the same place. There was a hacking of the websites, so himnadram.org got moved to Armenia Fund, and then there were problems with that site. They fixed both the problems. The only difference between them, I'm told, is that himnadram.org goes straight to Armenia in an Armenian bank, and so therefore it may not be tax deductible to you if you're looking for that, if that's important to you. But Armenia Fund is an American organization that then just sends the money, transfers it to the Himnadram in Armenia, and so it can be tax deductible. But you can do websites, I think phone calls will work, and several times over. Right after church, St. Hagop's Parish Council is getting together to consider what major donation the church will make, but we need everyone to participate that on their own as well. And the final thing is prayer. Keep praying. I love what Aray Harutyunyan, the president of Artsakh, said this morning. He said, our fight is not with you, Azerbaijani people. You are being held prisoner of your government, which is not very democratic, and it's in tough shape, and civilians on both sides are getting caught in between. But if there can't be peace, there must be self-defense, and we pray for our soldiers and for our victory. So with that, I will, if there's questions for Armen, I think we have about 5 more minutes before we go into the hall.
Yeah, but as I mentioned, yes, our civilians have always been target for Azerbaijani armed forces. It's their, I would say, handwriting. It's the way how they act. They violate all international humanitarian law norms. They don't adhere to any international law norms. So what they do, they target our cities. That's why our kids, they are in bunkers, because they need to be protected when there is air bombardment or there is a shelling. There have been civilian casualties. Actually, unfortunately, there were kids also among them. They were in Stepanakert casualties, they were in Martakert, they shelled Martuni region, and also they shelled Armenia also, Vartani's region, and as a result of shelling, there were also civilian casualties. There was also huge damage to civilian infrastructure in Stepanakert. Actually, they were shelling the power stations, they were shelling the buildings. Because of that, for a short time, there was no power in Stepanakert, and actually Stepanakert, now it's being one of the beautiful cities of the world. Now it's in dark, because you have to switch off light. no light, otherwise enemy will target you. Other questions? Awesome. Artsakh is Armenian land. Հայերեն ասեմ թե? Yeah. The question was, don't historians tell whose land is Artsakh? And I will answer in Armenian and then we'll translate in English. Artsakhe հայկական հին տարածք է, դա բոլորը գիտեն։ Եթե անգամ ինտերնետով նայեք, ցանկացած աղբյուր ցույց է տալիս, որ Արցախը հայկական տարածք է։ Արցախը եղել է անհիշելի ժամանակներից հայերի տարածք, հայեր են այնտեղ ապրել։ Բոլորը դա գիտեն, բայց Ադրբեջանի պահվածքը նա է, որ Ադրբեջանը միշտ, ինչպես եւ Թուրքիան, փորձում է յուրացնել այն, ինչ որ հայկական է։ Դուք տեսնում եք ինչ կատարվեց 15 թվին, թուրքերը, ադրբեջանցիները տարբերություն չկա, նույն ձեռագիրն է։ Նրանք ոչնչացնում են հայկական հետքը ամեն տեղ։ Մենք, ես նաև առիթ եմ եղել լինելու Փարիզում, ՅՈՒՆԵՍԿՕ-ի հանձնաժողովի անդամ եմ եղել, որը զբաղվում է զինված հակամարտությունների ընթացքում մշակութային արժեքների պահպանությամբ, եւ այդ ընթացքում նաև Ադրբեջանը նույնպես այդ հանձնաժողովի մեջ էր, եւ մենք ցույց ենք տվել միջազգային հանրությանը, որ Ադրբեջանը սիստեմատիկորեն, պարբերաբար ոչնչացնում է հայկական մշակութային արձանները, հուշարձանները, որպեսզի վերացնի հայկական հետքը։ Դա Ադրբեջանի պահվածքն է։ Նոր Ջուղայի խաչքարերի մասին գերեզմանատան լսած կլնեք։ Հիմա այնտեղ սարքել են ռազմական իրենց բազաներից մեկը, պոլիգոն է այնտեղ հիմա։ So what my answer is, everybody knows that Artsakh is an Armenian land. In every source, you Google by internet, it will say that Artsakh is an Armenian territory. Armenians have been there since ancient time, where there were no Turkish nation, there were no Azeri nation in the world. So, our policy is to show the world who are aggressors and also to show the world whose land is this. And also, I had the privilege and opportunity to be a member of the UNESCO committee which was dealing with the protection of cultural property during armed conflicts. I have attended many sessions which were conducted in Paris, in UNESCO headquarters, and Azerbaijan was also among these commission members, and we showed the international community that Azeris, they do everything to trace Armenians' cultural property, they do ethnic cleansing, they just don't want to have any proof, any evidence that Armenians have lived in their territories. Wherever you see Turkish or Azeri occupation, you will see Armenian cultural properties destroyed. They destroyed everything. Also, there was medieval cemetery coming from the 10th century, which was totally destroyed by military bulldozers, and now there is a military polygon on those places. At that time, Armenia, it happened a few years ago, was trying to draw attention of international community what's going on in North Juga, that they're destroying Armenian medieval century. It's a world cultural heritage. It's not belongs only Armenian, it's a cultural heritage coming from the 10th century. They are destroying it, but the international community, like now, they didn't pay any attention. They tried to go to Azerbaijan to send a fact-finding mission, but actually Azeris, which is understandable, they didn't allow this mission to come to North Juga. So, and also, you probably saw what's going on yesterday in Los Angeles, in front of the CNN building. Armenians were demonstrating. Why? Because no attention from CNN international news regarding what's going on in Nagorno-Karabakh. They're just demanding unbiased coverage what's going on in Nagorno-Karabakh, in Artsakh, in Armenia, and actually they closed 101 highway going to Los Angeles. And now many people know and they draw attention. Thank you. Excuse me, the last part of the question, why?
Israel has their role in this.
Okay. Oh, thank you for your question. Actually, the United States position on this, United States is a co-chair country of OSCE Minsk Group. OSCE, it's Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, and there is a Minsk Group, probably you have heard about this. OSCE Minsk Group was formed in 1994 for resolving Nagorno-Karabakh conflict in the peaceful way, the way of negotiations. Armenia, Nagorno-Karabakh, and Azerbaijan were the negotiating sides. But a few years ago, Azerbaijan refused to negotiate with Nagorno-Karabakh, and now negotiations were going on between only Armenia and Azerbaijan. And United States, France, and Russia, they were trying to resolve this conflict. And United States and other co-chair countries, they try to be neutral. They try not to protect or not to be biased and to be on one of the sides of the conflict. The United States approach is very careful, and actually what happened after these attacks, there were several statements and made by the State Secretary Mike Pompeo, made also by President Trump, made the State Department, and actually shortly the statements were like, we are condemning the violence, we are calling both sides to make ceasefire and not to escalate the violence. This is usually the practice of international community, how they react in such cases, and this is unfortunately the way how it is, but we try to change that, and actually you can see that President Emmanuel Macron have been very open, very frank, and he told, according to President Macron's one of the last statements, he told, I talked with President Aliyev, I told him that there was no reason to attack Nagorno-Karabakh, Artsakh, and I told him that he has to stop these military operations going in Nagorno-Karabakh and Artsakh. So this is the way. And about the Israeli involvement, I would like to let you know that recently we opened an embassy in Israel, and our ambassador in Israel was recalled back a few days ago after we found out there was information that even during these last days, Israel continues shipment of military equipment, hardware to Azerbaijan. Actually, the drones by which they are targeting the civilians in Armenia, in Armenia also in Nagorno-Karabakh, they are made by Israel, they are made by Turkey. Our position is very hard, and we will not tolerate any such involvement in this conflict. The sides have to be neutral, they have to be unbiased, and they shouldn't support Azerbaijan.
What is the probability that the Azerbaijani side, they seem to be sensitive when it comes to their gas pipelines. Today we took the Ganja airport, it's destroyed. What is the probability of our forces being 7 to 10 kilometers from Yevla, on the Artsakh border, that we will hit their gas pipeline? Is that a probability, or is that a military secret? Probably shouldn't answer.
Okay, I will try to answer. Actually, I will tell you our position on this. Armenia always adheres to the international humanitarian law. international humanitarian law, which called also the law of armed conflict, it states you cannot target civilians, you cannot target civilian infrastructures unless they become military targets. It means if, for instance, there is an Azeri mosque, you cannot target it. But if there is an Azeri mosque used for shelling your positions, and you have certain information that there is a militia inside the mosque, and they are harming your military, you can decide. It's becoming legitimate military target, but it's up to you to decide, shall target this mosque or not. Regarding the pipelines, probably you heard about the July escalation a few months ago in Tavush region. Azeri forces attacked our positions. They tried to recapture one of the heights there, but they were unsuccessful. Actually, even the Azeri forces general was killed during the retaliation self-defense attack of the Armenian armed forces. And actually it was provocation. According to some sources, according to also media sources, Turkish and Azeri hope was that Armenia will target these pipelines and they will draw the condemnation of the international community, because if you target the civilian infrastructure, you will target pipeline, it means you are violating international humanitarian law. Armenia always has adhered and will adhere to the international humanitarian law norms. Thank you.
Very much. Thank you very much, Armen. This was very insightful. Help you. Thank you for your service to your country and to all Armenians. We will move over to the fellowship hall, and Armen will certainly be able to answer more questions for you there as well. Let us finish our service by saying the Hayr Mer together and the final blessing.